Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to another live episode of Tax Training. Tonight, I will discuss to you our topics on the annexes po doon sa claim for VAT refund na ito po diniscuss natin nung nakaraan under Revenue Memorandum Order number 47-2020. So, before that, I would like to say thank you po sa mga subscribers natin. Umabot na po tayo ng 9,700, no? So, 300 more to go para umabot tayo ng 10,000. And thank you talaga mga subscribers, no? Kasi kahit maliit lang, tumanggap na kami ng sahod sa YouTube. So, thank you talaga, no? Yung sahod natin na maliit lang, i-share po natin yan sa mga kababayan po natin na iba na nandyan lang at tumutulong din naman po sa atin sa mga video natin, no? So, thank you very much. 300 more to go para sa 10,000 subscribers kasi pagdating na ng 10,000, magsi-celebrate na po talaga tayo kasi yung celebration hindi naman yun na para for nothing but Thanksgiving na rin po yan kasi sa hirap ng mag-YouTube, hirap yung maghanap ng contents, hirap ng time and effort mo that you spend, hirap mo ilang buwan, no? Tapos nakasurvive ka, so that's something to be thankful of, no? Okay, shout out.
Ako, ma'am.
Sige.
Hello and good PM daw po, ma'am. Sabi ni Ma'am Emerita Bibuya.
Wow, si Ma'am Amy, palagi naman yan nanonood sa atin din. No, shout out to you and Happy New Year po, Ma'am Amy.
Siya pa lang po, madam, yung
Okay. So, ito po yung ating topic tonight is about yung checklist. Ito yung pinakauna dito sa annexes ng RE mo na to. Checklist or of mandatory requirements on claims for VAT, credit or refund. So, para sa akin na sa lahat ng trabaho ng isang accountant, sa lahat ng trabaho ng isang CPA, especially kung siya yung consultant ng isang taxpayer, ang pinakamahirap talaga na compliance requirements documentation, no? Kaya tingnan niyo during the audit, ano ang hahanapin sa atin? Dokumento. Kaya if we are not prepared with the documents, ano yun, natatakot tayong ma-audit. Kasi wala tayong dokumento na ipapakita. Pero kung meron tayong documents na ipapakita, hindi tayo matatakot. At ano yun, ang pagdodokumento right at the start or at the beginning of the business, no? Kasi pag nakalimutan mo yung documentation mo, makikare mo yun all throughout the taxable year. Biro mo umabot na yung isang taon wala ka pa ring dokumento. Yun ang sakit ng ulo. So ano yun? Sigurado yun pag dating na sa audit, may malaki ka talagang exposure. Bakit? Kasi yung mga nire-report mo, walang ebidensya, no? Hindi mo ma-convince yung examiner na tama o totoo yung dineclare mo. No? Kasi wala kang dokumento. So, during the audit ng examiner, ito po yung kailangan niya, especially kung ang pinag-uusapan ay VAT, no? Value Added Tax. Ito yung Annex A-1. Nandyan na po yung name of claimant, the taxpayer identification number, the address, name of authorized representative, the email, and then the period of claim, kung ano po yung period of claim. Why importante po yung period of claim? Because dito na natin makikita kung expired na ba or prescribed na yung claim natin for VAT refund, no? Bakit? Kasi ayon sa batas, 2 years lang po magmula na nag-file tayo ng last filing period natin for that kind of tax sa VAT, yun lang yung pwede tayong makapag-claim ng input tax, no? Kasi kung hindi, yung period of claim na yan, pag hindi tayo umabot dun sa 2-year period na yan, hindi na natin pwedeng i-claim yung ng refund yung ating VAT. Pero ang tanong ng iba, pwede pa rin ba i-carry over? Pwede naman po i-carry over kasi na-research ko yan, wala namang batas na nagbigay ng ah, prohibition na yung VAT hindi mo ma-carry over o hindi sila nagbigay ng time in which to carry over the input VAT. Wala pong nakalagay sa law, no? So ano lang nilagyan nila ng ah, prescription o ng limit. Ito lang pong claim for VAT refund, no? After that, hindi mo na pwedeng i-claim yung VAT refund mo. Nakalagay dito yung amount of claim, and then the number of folder or boxes, main or supporting, no? Kung ilang boxes yung binigay. Kasi pagka malalaking companies with 1,000 branches halimbawa, ang documentation po niyan, isang truck, dalawang truck, tatlong truck, no? Kasi yung nag-condemn lang kami noon ng isang malaking company, no, sa large taxpayer, nag-condemn kami ng resibo noong 2013. Tatlong truck po ang resibo. So, ibig sabihin, kung kaya mandatory sa large taxpayers to maintain a computerized books of accounts para paperless na. Why? Kasi kung hindi paperless at yung papel pa rin ang ini-issue na resibo, sobrang dami po niyan, no? So, main, and then the supporting boxes. Telephone number, fax number. And then nakalagay po dito kung ano yung i-claim nimo. The nature of zero-rated sales or the box, no? Mark, check on the appropriate box. Ano yun? Pwede siyang direct export, pwedeng indirect export, or the mixed transaction. Bakit direct export ito? Kasi yung mga export, ito yung mga zero-rated sales at sila yung maraming input talaga, no? Okay. Note A. Indicate check for documents submitted and not applicable, or NA for documents not applicable on the space provided for. Letter B, all required schedules shall be in Excel format and in hard and soft copies. No? Kasi kung ano ba yung mga nire-require nila dito, halimbawa supporting computation yan or schedule, dapat naka-Excel. No? Kasi bakit naka-Excel? Para madali lang nilang i-audit using the Excel din. No? General requirements. 1.1, photocopy of SEC registration, articles of incorporation, and bylaws for corporation or partnership. Requirement 1.2, photocopy of DTI registration for sole proprietorship. Ito yung, so pag ikaw ay isang sole proprietor, lagyan mo ng NA itong number 1, no? Kung ikaw naman ay corporation, lagyan mo ng NA itong 1.2, no? And then, photocopy of latest General Information Sheet received by SEC, yung GIS, no? Kaya importante yung GIS natin, hari. Papareceive na natin yan. 3 original copies of application for tax credit or refund, BIR Form 1914. And then, photocopy of latest quarterly VAT returns of the following, corresponding to the period of claim. Oh? And then, corresponding to the quarter showing the deduction of the TCC or refund claim from the available input tax, which must be filed on or before the date of application of the VAT refund. No? So ito yung quarter, no? Na nandyan yung, kasi sa computation po natin ng VAT return, nakalagay na doon kung over ba siya or may payable. So pagka, halimbawa, nag-claim ka ng VAT refund, dapat naka-negative, no? Naka-negative, ibig sabihin may sobra ka na input tax. Makikita yan doon sa quarterly value added tax mo. 1.6, photocopy of annual income tax return or the AITR with audited financial statements, complete with notes to AFS if applicable, covering the period of claim. No? So ano yung requirements natin sa financial statements? Yung 4 na financial statements, and then yung notes to financial statements are very important. Ayoko ng ventilador, Hari. Tsaka yung aircon, patayin mo na yun dito. Ano mo na, buksan mo yun, tapos isara mo yung pinto para maano yung sounds. Yan, yung aircon dyan ang on mo, tapos yung dito na patayin, pati yung ventilador. Okay. 1.7 original copy of delinquency verification certificate valid for 6 months from date of issuance. So, halimbawa, ang ni-examine sa iyo is for 2020, no? So, ako I encourage those na may mga over payment kayo sa VAT, no? Bago, mga 1 year pa lang, o kaya, halimbawa, alam nyo na naman na hindi nyo na i-carry over. Halimbawa, pinail nyo na December 20, for the year December 2020, no? So, i-file nyo yan ng January. Pagdating ng January, i-file nyo na ng claim, no? Bakit? Huwag nyo nang hintayin pa na 2 years, yung ginagawa ng iba, hindi ko talaga maintindihan, no? Kasi pagdating na ng, halimbawa, may prescribe na bukas, ngayon nila i-submit. Ano pang time ng examiner na mag-verify, no? Although sabi na natin, upon filing of the claim for refund, mag-stop na yung running ng prescription. Pero parang napakabitin, no? Parang hindi siya fair on the side of the BIR. So ano yung dapat? Bago pa mag-prescribe o kaya 6 months pa bago mag-prescribe yung case mo, i-file mo na yung claim for refund to give also ample time para ma-audit ka. No? So, may mga technicalities dyan. Sometimes, pagdating po sa BAR, prescribed na yung claim for refund, nag 2 years na. No? Ang dami niya na nakakarating sa court. Sa Court of Tax Appeal, nag-a-appeal yung taxpayer. Kaya sabi ng BIR, expired na yung claim for refund. No? 1.6 photocopy of annual income tax return. 1.7 original copy of delinquency verification certificate valid for 6 months. No? For 1.7.1 for non-large taxpayers from the collection division of the respective region and accounts receivable monitoring division. So doon naman kukuha. For large taxpayers, LT from the LT Collection Enforcement Division, LT Division ng Cebu, Davao, and yung ERMD rin, no? Accounts Receivable Monitoring Division. 1.8 for claims with input VAT on importation, original copy of certification from the OSS, yung One-Stop Shop Center, that the claimant has not filed a similar claim covering the same period, no? Ito yung DOF One-Stop Shop. This is a special office created by the DOF to monitor yung mga exporter, no? 1.9 original copy of notarized secretary certificate for corporate claimant or special power of attorney for individual claimant, stating the authorized representative to file, sign documents on behalf of the company and or follow up VAT refund claims together with a photocopy of at least one valid government issued ID with 3 specimen signatures, no? So 1.1, original copy of the duly authorized taxpayer and attestation as to the following Annex A1. No? A, taxpayer's profile, books of accounts, and accounting records. So ito na, nandito na yung accounting records. No? Kaya ito, tuloy-tuloy yung turo natin sa bookkeeping. Ano na yung nangyari sa bookkeeping natin, Hari?
Sa bookkeeping na.
May ano ka ba dyan? May mic?
Meron po.
Oh, kasi pagka ni-review ko yung ating video, hindi ka naririnig.
Maingay kasi yung pangalan.
No? So, andyan na, letter A, taxpayer's profile, books of accounts, and accounting records. So, napaka-importante po ng bookkeeping. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, Bookkeeping is the heart of accounting. No? Kailan yung ating free bookkeeping ulit?
Sa 2029 po.
Okay, so 28-29, meron na naman tayo ulit na free bookkeeping. Alam nyo, ayoko na sanang um, ulitin yan, yung free bookkeeping. Why? Kasi ang katwiran ko, same lang yung kinakandak natin every month. And pre-recorded na yung bookkeeping na yan. So, kung gusto nyo talagang matuto, replay nyo lang yung video. No? But, timely naman, itong January, may mga lumabas na bagong mga memorandum ng December na nirevise na nila yung mga dinidiscuss natin dyan sa free bookkeeping. Ano yun? Yung mga procedure at saka mga requirements to apply for computerized books of accounts. So, bago na. So, kailangan na natin i-discuss at i-discuss din natin yung mga penalties, no? So, very important yun na kasama doon. At saka siguro ibalik na rin natin yung discussions din doon sa, isama na natin yung sa special books of accounts na mga kasama na yung sa inventory, no? Talaga ako i-reiterate ko yun palagi, the importance of inventory. Kasi kagaya nito, ang pinag-usapan dito, claim for VAT, no? So, may mga accounts na tatamaan dito. Ano yun? Dito kasi ang pinag-usapan dito sa claim for VAT mo, purchases ito eh. No? O kaya sales. So, anong tatamaan mo dito? Inventory. No? So, very important. Kaya dito sa books of accounts mo, other accounting records, ano ang laman nito mga pinupurchase mo na may mga VAT na to? Inventory yan. So, doon lalabas at doon din makikita pag nag-inventory analysis kung tama ba yung sales na dineclare mo against your purchases. Huh? So, letter B, the amount of sales declared with breakdown as to the amount of zero-rated, taxable, and exempt sales. Oh, itong zero-rated, taxable, exempt sales, wala po itong problema kung everyday nagre-record kayo sa inyong books of accounts. Why? Kasi magtatali lahat yan. Lalo na kung may source documents kayo, magtatali lahat yan kung magkano yung zero-rated, taxable, and also the exempt sales. Letter C, completeness and authenticity of the document submitted. No? Completeness and authenticity. So how will you do that? No? Authentic yung documents mo at saka complete. Letter D, the ending inventory as of close of the period being claimed has been used directly or indirectly in the products exported if applicable. No? Sa letter E, the company did not file any and or will not file any similar claim from another BIR office and or the DOF OSS, yung DOF one-stop shop for claims with importation. No? And that the books of accounts and accounting records are available for verification by authorized BIR revenue officers upon request, and that failure on our part to present said books and records is a ground for denial of our refund. No? So, nakalagay dyan ang sa affidavit po ng taxpayer. No? I-deny yung refund niya pagka hindi kompleto yung at saka hindi available yung kanyang mga accounting records at saka books of accounts, no? So, alam nyo, ang laki ng pakinabang sa mga records na updated at saka sa mga books of accounts. No? Okay. Number 2, sale of goods or services. Ito na yung nagbebenta ka, kaya nga makikita na kung ano ba yung schedule of sales mo. Ito yung nandyan sa summary list of sales natin and purchases. No? So, sale of goods or services, schedule of zero-rated, exempt, and taxable sales with details following the prescribed format in annexes A1.2, A1.3, A1.4, and A1.5, which we will discuss later nung pagkatapos nito. Hari, may mga lamok na naman. For direct export sales of goods or services, attach photocopies of proof of remittances arranged in accordance with Annex A.1.2 or A1.3, no? Whichever is applicable. Excuse lang po, kasi masakit, eh. Okay, sige po. Dito na tayo sa 2.2, no? Original and soft copies stored in a separate memory devices of sales invoices and AW final bill for sale of goods or ORs with billing statements, OR with statement of accounts and or service contracts, OR with job order or any equivalent documents for sale of services, no? May video na tayo dyan yung mga zero-rated sale of services under the train law and zero-rated sale of goods or properties also under the train law. Um, for sale of goods to special economic zone, ito yung mga sales sa pyesa, no? And free ports, the corresponding photocopies of proof of delivery is required. No, yun na. The original copies shall be returned for the taxpayer claimant once stamped with VAT refund. No? Claim after verification, while the soft copies shall be retained by the processing office for future reference. No? So, ito yung mga sale of goods sa PESA. No? Ano ang kailangan? The photocopies of proof of delivery. Oh, so ibig sabihin na-deliver talaga sila doon sa PESA. Kasi bakit? Ano ba yung purpose ng mga special economic zone? Nagde-develop sila ng mga product. Ang purpose niyan is subsequently to be exported to other countries. No? Hindi yun ang purpose dito i-consume sa Pilipinas. So for sale of services to a non-resident foreign corporation under Section 108B2, original copy of certification from SEC that the non-resident foreign corporation is not a registered corporation in the Philippines, which shall serve as proof that the non-resident foreign corporation buyer of the services is not doing business in the Philippines. Kasi ano po ang taxability natin pagdating sa VAT ng services. Diba kung saan siya dineliver, no? So, ibig sabihin, para maging zero-rated sale of services siya, doon din siya na binigay sa non-resident na foreign corporation or buyer. For sale of services to companies engaged in international shipping or air transport under Section 108B4, a photocopy of service contracts or other acceptable documents to prove that the service is rendered to foreign principals and or clients that are engaged in international shipping or air transport, no? So ano yung posible na proof doon? Sabi dito, service contract, no? Yeah. So 2.5, schedule of offsetting of receivables and payables if company has offsetting agreement with foreign affiliates or companies. So alam niyo dito sa mga offsetting na to, sa mga receivables and payables, take note tayo dito kasi may mga issues dyan, income tax issues that will crop up. No? Local purchases of goods and services. Ito na yung number 3, no? So yung number 1, general requirements. Number 2, sale of goods or services. So let's now go to number 3, which are the local purchases of goods and services, no? So 3.1, schedule of purchases with input tax for the period of claim with details following the presented format in Annex A.1.6. No? 3.2, original and soft copies stored in a separate memory device of supplier sales invoices for purchase of goods or ORs, and if applicable with statements of accounting statements or equivalent document for purchase of services arranged in accordance with the schedule required under 3.1. No? Ito yung schedule of purchases with input tax. With proof of payments for big ticket purchases, no, the original copy shall be returned to the taxpayer claimant one stamp with VAT refund or claim after verification, while the soft copy shall be retained by the processing office for further reference, no? So ito yung mga malalaki na purchases. Importation in two sets to include the requirements for the Bureau of Customs. Ano to? 4.1, ito yung schedule of importation for the period of claim with details following the format prescribed in Annex A.1.7. 4.2, original copy of VAT payment certification issued by the BOC Revenue Accounting Division for importation in the current year. 4.3, photocopies of import entry and internal revenue declarations and/or single administrative document or statement of settlement of duties and taxes, no? So ito na yung mga bagong documents na kailangan. Ano to? Import entry, no? Declaration and internal revenue declarations. Single administrative document or SAD. Statement of Settlement of Duties and Taxes, SSDT, no? So yan yung mga dokumento naman ng mga galing sa Bureau of Customs. Okay. For services rendered by non-residents, schedule of income payment to non-residents as supported with photocopies of BIR form number 1600 with proof of payments. No? Kasi ano tong 1600? Ito yung withholding. Basta malalaman mo sa kind of form, doon pa lang sa series, no? Kasi 1900, ano yan? Registration yan na form. 1700, ano yan? Income tax. 1800, transfer tax. Yun yung donors at saka estate tax. 2200 yung mga excise taxes. Kaya itong 1600 withholding, no? Importation in dito na tayo sa number 6, no? For indirect exporters, taxpayers engaged in renewable energy. Ito yung indirect exporters. So, consider sila exporters, pero hindi talaga sila nag-export. 6.1, photocopies of registration certificate with latest annual letter of incentives of customer registered with BOI, the Board of Investment, PESA, ito yung sa Philippine Economic Zone Authority, and other investment promotion agencies, no? So for the claimants, no, for RE or renewable energy claimants, including manufacturers, fabricators, and suppliers of locally produced registered renewable energy equipment, no? So the following photocopies of documents are required on a per transaction or project basis. So ano yun? Certificate of Registration and Accreditation issued by the Department of Energy, so DOE. And then Certificate of Endorsement from the DOE through the Renewable Energy Management Bureau. And then the photocopies of approved application for VAT zero rating issued by the appropriate BIR office if applicable, no? So may approve pa siya na zero rating. Other requirements, schedule of other income if applicable, schedule of property, plant and equipment, addition per FS or financial statement if applicable, following the prescribed format in Annex A.1.8, no? We'll discuss that later. Photocopies for support of creditable VAT withheld if applicable. Ano tong mga creditable VAT withheld? Kung meron tayong halimbawa withholding sa government, no? Kasi yung sale to government natin, di ba nang-withhold sila ng 5%, which prior to 2021, final withholding tax siya. Pero ngayon na 2021 na, creditable withholding tax na siya, no? So meron po tayong video on that, no? May nilabas na tayong video dyan na how to compute the VAT on sales to government beginning January 1, 2021, no? So, itong form na to, Annex A1, checked by signature over printed name and then date and then acknowledged by the claimant's authorized representative and also the date, no? So, be careful kasi yung pag-sign po dito, kailangan may signature over printed name. no? At kailangan sino yung mag-assign dito? The authorized representative po ng claimants. Hindi yung kung sino-sino lang. Sige, Harry, shout out.
Shoutout po ma'am kay Ma'am Lilian Yang.
Oh, wow.
Good evening
Hello,
daw po.
good evening, Miss Lilian. No, always talaga si Ma'am Lilian.
Good evening din daw po ma'am, sabi ni Sir Leonito Avenido.
Oh. Alam mo, kung inisa-isa ko yung mga pangalan sa... Kasi nire-review ko tong live streaming natin eh. Oh, hindi ko magets yung pangalan ni Sir Junito. Junito yan eh. Gio. Di ba? Gio Nito. So, Junito. Abilino. Tama ba?
Avenido.
Abinido. Oh, sige. Na-gets ko na. Kaya na-pronounce ko na yan ng tama. So, good evening po sa iyo, sir. And thank you for watching. Meron pa?
Marami nagko-comment na daw.
Ilan na yung viewers natin?
May 9 viewers.
Okay. Sige. No? Thank you talaga sa mga viewers natin, sa mga subscribers natin. Thank you talaga, no? Kasi konti na lang. 300 na lang. Abutin na natin yung 10,000 subscribers na kailan mag-celebrate tayo, no? At saka nag-monetize na po kami dito sa ano natin, sa tax training natin ng YouTube channel, kahit papaano, no? Kahit maliit lang, pero dahil it added to our experience, no? Kaya sabi ko, yun na munang i-claim yan kasi palakihin muna natin, no? But for experience purposes na naka-claim ka na, at ang bilis lang po, ano lang sa bangko, no? Paano mag-claim ng YouTube salary? Mamili ka kung ano yung gusto mo na mode of payment. No? Ano yung pinili mo, Hari, sa atin?
Wire transfer ma'am.
Wire transfer lang. Tapos sa, ano yun?
Sa bangko.
Sa bangko, no? Magbibigay ka ng account mo sa bangko. Okay. So, may shout out pa?
Wala na po.
Wala question.
Wala pa rin pong question.
Oh, sige. Sige, kasi bat ito eh. Sa susunod po, tapusin lang natin to yung ang bat kasi bago to pong regulations ng BAR, so kasama pa to sa updates natin. Sa susunod na tayo in preparation for the filing ng income tax natin, ang i-discuss natin palagi during our tax training, the live streaming, is about income tax na. So we'll start with the allowable deductions. Isa-isahin natin yan, ano ba yung mga limitations sa mga itemized deductions na pwede nating i-claim, no? At ano yung mga documentary requirements for the deductions na i-claim natin. So that magkaroon tayo ng idea dahil in preparation for the deadline po ng filing ng income tax ng April, no? April 2021, no? So, kanina nagpa-withdraw ako sa bangko. Ang nilagay kong date, January 12, 2020. No? So, binalik. Sabi ng bangko, hindi pa raw ako naka-move on sa 2020. No? Kasi 2021 pa rin yung nilalagay ko. Ganoon naman po talaga eh. Pag bago pa, hindi ka makaka-move on. No? Pero pagka matagal na, practice. Ako dati, pagkabago na yung year, pinapractice ko talaga yan para hindi ako magkamali. Especially nung time na nagre-review ako ng mga dockets na pagkadami-dami when I was chief of the assessment ng Marikina, ng BIR. No, I have to review documents ng mga capital gains. So, basahin mo lahat yung mga deed of sale, yung mga deed of donation, isa-isahin mo talaga yan. Kasi review nga eh, bago ka mag-initial doon sa report. Otherwise, pag may mali yan, damay ka, isa ka sa maki-question kasi kasama ka sa nag-review. No? So, talagang iniisa-isa ko yan. And hirap nga lang gawin pero kailangan, no? So balik na tayo sa ating discussions, no? Let's now go to Annex A, point 1.1. Wala pa rin tayo Hari?
Wala pa rin po.
Okay. Sige. Kasi nga bat nga ito, ang iba ayaw ng pag-usapan ang bat, no? So, but wala tayong magawa kasi kasama sa taxes na binabayaran natin, no? So, taxpayers attestation, ito na yung affidavit, no, na diniscuss natin kanina. So, ano yung laman ng affidavit na to? No, all men by this presence I, name ng taxpayer or claimant, no, or authorized representative. In my capacity as ano yung position. Kasi kung corporation yan, hindi pwede corporation ang magbigay ng affidavit, no? It's the authorized officers, no? Of yung pangalan ng business or ng business name with business address at, no, in relation to our claim for value-added tax refund for the period from to, no? So, specify mo yung period. So, dito pala sa taxpayer attestation, makita na kung expired na yung claim mo, no? Kasi halimbawa, yung for the period mo is 2 years na pala, hindi na yan tatanggapin ng BAR. Kaya dapat earlier. Do hereby attest the following. Number 1, general profile. Number 1.1, type of organization, single proprietorship, corporation, partnership, or others specified. No? 1.2, business activity, exporter of goods, principal product sold, nakalagay dyan. Exporter of services, type of services. Zero-rated activities under special law, specify mo rin. Kung special law yan, ano yan? Pwedeng PESA, pwedeng yung mga special law natin that grants exemptions, no? Sa mga concessionaires. And then, VAT exempt activities, no? So, also, manufacturing, kung local ba siya, trading, kung local, service na local, or importing, na i-import ba. 1.3, registration under special laws, BOI, PESA, and others, yes or no. No? So, check natin. Pagka anong instruction, pagka walang hindi applicable, then ilagay natin na in A. O kaya, since this is an affidavit of attestations, kung yes, then lagay na natin yung yes. No? If yes, specify. Number 2, books of accounts and accounting records. Books maintained, general journal, ledger, cash receipts book, cash disbursement book, and then others. And then the sales journal, purchase journal, VAT subsidiary sales journal, and VAT subsidiary purchase journal. Methods of accounting, manual, no? Computerized, permit number, date issued. No? Pag large taxpayer yung taxpayers mo, pag sinabi mo dito manual, violations na kaagad yan kasi 2009 pa, all large taxpayers are required to maintain a computerized accounting system. Pag sinabi natin na system, lahat yan. From the issuance of the receipts hanggang sa generation of reports, walang manual intervention. No? Sino ang gumagawa niyan? Computer or system. 2.3, manner of invoicing, issuance of receipts. No? So, can be manual, computerized accounting system or cash, may permit number, and then the approved serial number. Kaya nga tinuloy natin yung bookkeeping natin kasi sa bagong sa bagong regulations ng computerized accounting system, wala na pong permit, no? Kayo na lang yung magbibigay ng affidavit at magsabi, may attestation din doon, may affidavit na yung system nyo complies with the basic tax compliance, no? So, sa manner of invoicing can be mixed or others. 2.4, BIR permit for printer's authority to print invoices or receipts. And then the ATP number, date issued, serial numbers. And then we have the cash register machines and how many, ilan yung cash register machines nyo. Kasi sa ibang mga big supermarket or sa mga department stores, no, napakarami nila. Sometimes 1,000 yung kanilang cash register machines. Computerized or loose-leaf invoices or receipts, permit number, and then the date issued. And then we have the 2.5 serial numbers of sales invoices, no? And official receipts used during the period of claim. So take note dito, wala nang iba pang resibo. Ano nakalagay? Sales invoice at saka official receipts. Because under Republic Act 9337, 2005 pa po yung effectivity niyan, ang gagamitin ng VAT registered taxpayers should be the official receipt for sale of services and then sales invoice for sale of goods. No? So dito pa lang sa affidavit makikita mo na kung compliant ang taxpayer o hindi, no? So spoiled or canceled sales invoice or official, receipt numbers. So, yung mga spoiled, ilagay nyo rin dito yung series, no? Letter of authority, if any, issued for the audit or VAT on all internal tax liabilities for the same taxable year or period covered by the claim. So letter of authority number, issuing BIR office, tax type, and then taxable period. Breakdown of sales, zero-rated sales, direct export, indirect export. Direct export, ito yung ikaw mismo naglabas sa Pilipinas ng goods mo, in-export mo sa ibang bansa. Ito namang indirect export, ito yung binenta mo lang dyan sa export-oriented companies, no? So, hindi mo siya nilabas sa Pilipinas, pero binenta mo siya doon sa manufacturers o sa mga PSA registered enterprises who will subsequently export your goods to other countries. Pero ano nakalagay doon pagka effectively zero-rated ka at doon mo siya binenta sa mga subsequently mag-export, anong sabi? Pwede mo lang siya i-claim kung yung goods actual na in-export or dinala na sa ibang bansa or shipped to other countries. No? Pag hindi pa, hindi mo pa siya pwedeng i-claim. Sales subject to 12% VAT, no, kung may mga local sales ka. And also the exempt sales and the total sales for the period. So for the total sales for the period, ano yung mga kasama? The zero-rated sales, which can be direct or indirect export, sales subject to 12% VAT, and the exempt sales. No? So you have to break down your total sales. So kaya anong gagawin nyo? Doon pa lang sa libro, sa recording nyo, ganito na yung gagawin nyo. Naka-breakdown na rin yung sales doon. If you try to look at the value added tax return, naka-breakdown na rin po siya doon. No? Completeness and authenticity of documents of A, the documents submitted for purposes of processing herein claim, our herein claim for VAT refund, and these are the only documents that will be presented to support our claim. Kasi yung iba, pagka may mga findings na, ay, meron pa kami ibang resibo. So, ano nakalagay dito sa affidavit? Ito lang yung mga dokumento na ipipresent. Wala nang iba. No? The sales invoice and airway bill, final bill of lading for sale of goods, or official receipts with billing statement, official receipt with statement of accounts and or service contracts, official receipts with job order or any equivalent document for sale of services. So these are what we call as commercial documents. No? So they are very important, especially nagki-claim na tayo ng VAT refund. No? So the sales invoice for purchase of goods or official receipts with billing statements or statements of account or any equivalent document for purchase of services or letter D, the VAT payment certification from the Bureau of Customs, import entry and internal revenue declarations and or single administrative document, statement of settlement of duties and taxes and commercial invoices for claims with input VAT on importation. Ito kasama na sa affidavit ang ending inventory. Alam nyo, affidavit pa lang to, pero parang dineclare nyo na lahat. No? So ito na yung hinuhubaran nyo na yung sarili nyo doon sa examiner. Why? Kasi lahat talaga, as in lahat, parang tiniteleskopyo na yung kumpanya nyo. No? So ending inventory, the ending inventory as of close of the period being claimed has been used directly or indirectly in the products exported if applicable. No? Other attestations that the company did not file any and or will not file any similar claim from another BIR office and or the DOF OSS for claims with importation. That the books of accounts and accounting records are available for verification by authorized BIR revenue officers upon request, and that failure on our part to present said books and records is ground for denial of our refund. Kasi wala kang proof, so i-deny yung refund mo, hindi ka na ibibigay yung refund mo. The undersigned hereby declare under the penalties of perjury that the foregoing attestations are true and correct. No? So signature over printed name of the authorized officer or proprietor, yung may-ari. No? Subscribe and sworn to before me in this blank day of, ito yung notarization na notary public. No? So importante din ito because this is your file documents, no? Meron document number, meron page number, meron book number, and then a series of. No? And then, so affidavit pa lang po yun, parang hinubara na kayo, you declare all. Yung next natin is Annex A, point 1.2. Ito yung schedule of zero-rated sales of goods, no, for the period. So, for the period, kung ano yung kiniklaim mo na period, no. But see to it na yung period mo, hindi siya lumagpas ng 2 years, no. So, reference, book number, folder number, page number. Sales invoice number, ito yung series po ng number dun sa sales invoice natin. Date, name of buyer, airway bill or bill of lading number, the country of destination. So remember na ang dami nating mga input tax on zero-rated sales. Bakit? Kasi walang 12% ang babayaran ng zero-rated sales. Zero po siya, pero meron tayong i-claim na 12% input tax doon sa mga purchases natin from a VAT-registered taxpayer. No? So yun ang kiniklaim po dito. Sales in foreign currency, kung meron, the country of destination, kung saan po siya dadalhin, and then the conversion rate ng currency po nila doon, and then the amount of sales. No? Date of remittance, yung pinadala na dito, yung binayaran na yung sales mo. The accredited bank, the amount remitted in foreign country, currency, proof of remittance, bank credit memo, amount of remittance in peso, no, and then the forex gain, no, loss in Philippines. Ito yung foreign exchange gain on loss, no. Kasi bakit? Pag mataas yung dollar, ano yun? Gain ka ba or loss? No? O kaya kung mababa yung dollar, gain ka ba or loss? No? So panalo ka na. Discrepancy in foreign currency, no? And then the remarks. So yun po yung schedule of zero-rated sale of goods natin. No? Then meron din tayong zero-rated sale of services, no? So ito yung schedule for the period, no? See to it also that your period hindi pa nag-expired yung 2 years. So reference, we have the book number, folder number, page number, and the sales invoice number, and then the date. The name of the customers, the country, the amount bill in foreign currency, the conversion rate, the amount billed, then the date of remittance, and then the accredited banks, the amount remitted in foreign currency, proof of remittance is the bank credit memo, and then the amount in peso, the foreign exchange gain or loss, discrepancy in foreign currency, and then the remarks, no? So, yan po yung schedule ng zero-rated sale of services natin. So, kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga information na nandito, kailan na, malaki na po yung information na may bibigay nito during the audit. And then Annex A 1.4, ito naman po yung schedule of exempt sales, no? Goods and services for the period. So exempt, ibig sabihin hindi siya subject to VAT. No? So meron ng reference, sales invoice, official receipts, registered name of the buyer, product items, amount of sales, and then the reason or basis of exemption. No? Kung exempted siya. Okay. Schedule of taxable sales. Ito naman, hindi siya exempt, so taxable siya. For purposes of VAT, kasi ang pinag-usapan natin dito, VAT, hindi income. No? So, taxable sales natin for VAT purposes, we have also the reference, book number, folder number, page number, and then we have the sales invoice, no, number, and then the date. The official receipts or the OR, also the number, yung number doon sa resibo, may 1, 2, 3, 4 yan, no? And then the date. The registered name of the buyer, address of buyer, product or items, amount of sales, output VAT, and total invoice or OR amount, no? So, yan po yung schedule ng taxable sales natin. Okay. May question na?
Meron po.
Sige, unahin natin before we go to Annex A, point 1.6. Sige.
Shoutout po muna ma'am kay Ma'am Kiara Ferga.
Oh, so lagi din yan nanonood sa atin.
Apo.
Oh, sige, shout out kay Ma'am
Kiara.
Kiara. Oh, sige. Ah, thank you for watching po, Ma'am Kiara. Sige, anong question?
Ito ma'am yung question po galing kay Ma'am Elma de Gracia.
Okay, so shout out kay Ma'am Elma. Live ba to?
Live po.
O, sige.
Sabi niya ma'am, good evening po.
Good.
Regarding po sa BIR Form 1604E.
1604, yung ka-upload mo lang.
Apo.
Okay.
Sa kolong daw po ng TRA,
Tingnan natin.
EAR number.
Sandali lang ha.
Sabihin nito.
1604E.
Apo.
Okay. Page
Sa kolong
39.
daw po ng TRA.
Okay, 1604E.
Apo.
Anong column?
Sa kolong daw po ng
EROROEAR number sa mga government agencies po yan. No, TRA is the tax remittance advice. EROR sa kanila po yan. Sa mga government agencies po yan. No? Pero kung hindi kayo government agencies, anong ilagay nyo dyan? Yung ROR or OR ng remittance ninyo. Kaya tingnan nyo to, date of remittance to. No? And then the drawee bank, the code agency. Tapos ito yung, itong ROR, ito yung revenue official receipts. No? Itong AR, di ko na ano to, pero ito yung number na pinagbayaran ninyo when you remit. No? And then the taxes withheld, the penalties, and then the total amount remitted. No? So yung TREAROREAR number, yun po yung number ng resibo nung nagbayad kayo. No? So kasi pwede siya na electronic receipts. Bakit? Kasi di ba po yung payment natin ngayon is through online na. So mga online na resibo na rin po itong i-attach natin when we make our 1604E. No? So ang i-report natin dito, ito yung column na to, yun po yung resibo. Sa resibo nyo yan, tingnan kung anong number yun ang ilagay nyo po dito. Ha? Okay.
Sabi niya ma'am, kung resibo daw po ba ng bangko?
Yes, kung resibo ng bangko, kung sa bangko kayo nagbayad, no? Pero kung itong TRA, Tax Remittance Advice, ito yung payment ng government agencies ino-offset lang to doon sa kanilang pondo, no? So itong iba sa bangko na to at saka sa ROR, Revenue Official Receipt, yun na yung sa BAR, no?
Sa bangko nga daw sila nagbayad.
Sa bangko, so yung resibo po ng bangko, yun po yung lagay nyo dyan. Okay?
Okay na po ma'am.
Wala nang question. Okay, so let's now go to Annex A, point 1.6. Ito po yung schedule of local purchases with input tax. No? Ang suggestion ko pala, Hari, kasi pag tiningnan mo yung ating live streaming, puro lang discussion, lagyan mo kung anong topic. Kasi ang hirap maghanap. So, huwag nyo na lagyan na live streaming, lagyan mo na lang na Q&A, tapos topic. Kasi ang hirap maghanap, no? Kasi review ko po palagi yung channel natin. Parang ako mismo nahirapan ako maghanap kung anong topics, no? So, lagyan mo na kaagad Q&A tapos topics na. Kasi yung mga previous, di ba? Puro rin live discussions lang nakalagay. So hindi mo na alam kung anong topics yung mga nandoon na dinidiscuss, no? Bubuksan mo pa and sometimes ang dami ng pero thank you sa YouTube kasi diyan tayo nabubuhay yung ating ads, no? Papindot mo kasi minsan maghintay ka ng ads, hindi mo na kaagad-agad makakita, no? Pero thank you din dahil diyan sa ads diyan po tayo mabubuhay, no? Okay. So let's now discuss the Annex A, point 1.6, the schedule of local purchases with input tax. Ano itong mga local purchases? For the period from to, no? So, purchases of goods other than capital goods and purchases of services. No? So, yung reference, book number, folder number, page number, kasi at itong mga reference na to, ibig sabihin ni-record natin to sa ating books of accounts. Pag wala tayong books of accounts, wala tayong reference dyan. No? So, registered name of supplier, the tax identification ng supplier, the invoice number, the date of invoice, the OR number, the date of OR, amount of purchase of goods, amount of purchase of services, total amount of purchases, and then the input tax, and then the total invoice and the OR amount, no? So yun yung nakalagay po dito. And then for the purchases of capital goods not exceeding 1 million. Ano tong capital goods not exceeding 1 million? Kanina may video tayo about that, no? Especially yung mga depreciable goods at saka kung paano kiniklaim yung kanilang input VAT. No? So, same na requirements po ang hinahanap na information. We have the reference, book number, folder number, page number, and then the registered name of supplier. The TIN, the invoice number, date of invoice, description of capital goods. Anong klaseng capital goods ba yan? Machineries, transportation, vehicles, no? So, amount of purchases, the input tax, the total invoice amount. And then we have the letter C, purchases of capital goods exceeding 1 million. Ito na yung capital goods na mag-amortize na tayo, no? Goods exceeds 1 million in accumulated amount, no? Including those acquired from previous periods, from current purchases, period covered by claim, no? So reference, book number, folder number, registered name of supplier, the tax identification number, the invoice number, the date of the invoice, description of the capital goods, the amount of purchase, the input tax, total invoice amount, recognized life, no? In month. So kung 5 years yan, then 60 months. Kung 4 years, 48 months. Kung 3 years, 36 months. Kung 2 years, 24 months. Huwag yung 12 months. Bakit? Pagka 12 months yan, hindi na yan i-amortize, no? Outright na yan na expense. Current portion, the ratio of current portion over a useful life of the asset or 60 months, whichever is shorter. Allowable input tax for the period, the balance of input tax to be carried to next period. No? So remember na yung input tax nyo carried to the next period, hindi nyo na pwedeng i-claim yan na refund, no? During the year. From prior period purchases, no? Period covered by claim. So we have the reference, registered name of supplier, the TIN, invoice number, date of invoice, description of capital goods, the amount purchased, input tax, total invoice amount, recognized life in months, current portion, ratio of current portion over useful life of the assets or 60 months, then the allowable input tax for the period, the balance of input tax to be carried to next period. And then we have the total claimable input tax or sum of total A, B, C, and D, no? So aggregate total for the amount of purchases and input tax of A, B, and C, 1 should correspond to the total purchases and input tax per VAT return during the period of claim. Aggregate total for input tax if A and B, including the allowable input tax for the period under C1 and C2, should correspond to the total amount of claimable input tax for the period of claim. Siyempre, kailangan magtatali yan sa period of claim. The amortized, ripened portion of the input tax, ito yung inamortize. For purchases of capital goods from prior period deferred upon evaluation review if previous claims for VAT, credit, or refund will be supported with the copy of the memorandum report, including working papers, if any, duly authenticated or certified by the custodian of the record maintained by the processing or the reviewing office. Sobrang liit na po ng sulat na halos hindi mo na mabasa, no? Okay. Anyway, yun po yung schedule of local purchases with input tax. No? So Annex A.1.6. No? And then we have the schedule of importations naman under Annex A.1.7. No? So ano tong schedule ng importations for the period also. And then the importation other than capital goods. And then sa B, importation of capital goods not exceeding 1 million. So ito yung outright na i-claim nyo na yung input tax. Importation of capital goods exceeding 1 million if acquisition of capital goods exceeds 1 million in accumulated amount including those acquired from previous period, no? Okay. Total claimable input tax for the sum, subtotal A, B, C, and D, and then the note, no? Same lang. Hindi ko na siya babasahin. Same lang dun sa kaninang binasa ko. No? Ito yung schedule of importations. So, may mga information siya na kailangan. So, fill that up. No? Kung ano yung kailangan niya na mga informations. So, in importations ito, saan manggagaling yung mga dokumento niyo dito? Coming from the BOC. Ito yung mga SSDT, no? Mga kiniklaim natin na binayaran na VAT sa BOC. Bakit ang BOC? Kasi sa kanila yung record po ng importations. Okay. And tsaka yung export, no? So yung mga goods na lumalabas, pumapasok sa bansa natin, naka-monitor po yan ang Bureau of Customs. Annex A, point 1.8, ito yung name of taxpayers and then the monthly schedule of property, plant, and equipment, additions, local, and importation per financial statement for the period blank to. No? So yung gagawin po natin pagkatapos na ng mga dinidiscuss natin to sa inyo, during our live streaming, no, magta-tax updates lang din tayo at saka i-discuss na natin itong mga karamihan ng mga schedules, no? Para mas lalo kayong ma-enlighten. Annex A, point 2, ito yung checklist of documentary requirements for claims for VAT credit or refund pursuant to Section 112B of the Tax Code as amended. No? Ano yung 112B? Tingnan natin. Akin na yung tax code natin, hari yung maliit. Ito. Ito na. Section 112B na claim for refund on VAT. Okay. So, Section 112B, ito yung cancellation of VAT registration. Bakit? Kasi magpa-close na ng operation yung business. No? And then, meron pa siya mga exist na VAT. So, pwede din niya i-claim yun within the period of 2 years. No? So, yung cancellation of VAT registration because magko-close na yung taxpayer. Ayaw na mag-business. Or nilipat na sa ibang corporation yung business. No? Okay. So what are the requirements? 3 original copies of the duly accomplished application for tax credit or refund, BAR form number 1914. Number 2, tax clearance issued by the Revenue District Office, RDO, Large Taxpayers Audit Division, LTAD, due to retirement, cessation of business. And then for corporate claimant, certificate of dissolution from the Securities and Exchange Commission. And then we have the photocopies of VAT returns for the period covering the input tax claim as certified by the BIR office where the taxpayer claimant is registered except for tax returns filed through EFPS, no? Electronic Filing and Payment System natin. No? Bakit except yung mga nagbabayad sa EFPS? Kasi hindi na nila hihingin yung photocopies ng VAT returns kasi pwede na nilang i-download sa EFPS at sila na yung magpiprint. Number 5, schedule and photocopies of sales invoices and or official receipts or ORs issued by the taxpayer claimant covering the taxable periods of claim duly certified by the authorized official of the taxpayer. No? Ito yung mga sales invoice and then official receipts, kaya very important. Lalo na pag nag-claim ka ng refund. No? Kasi ibig sabihin, talagang authentic yung transactions mo. No? Number 7, list of ending inventory of goods supplies including capital goods. So very, very crucial po yung inventory, no? List of inventory. Inventory of unused sales invoice or official receipts together with the said sales invoice or official receipts to be destroyed. Bakit? Kasi hindi ka na magbi-business, ipapaklose mo na. So anong gagawin? Ibalik mo yung mga resibo, OR or sales invoice na hindi mo pa nagamit kasi sisirain yun, i-destroy yun. Bakit? Kasi baka mamaya hindi yun i-destroy tapos gagamitin pa magki-claim ng input VAT, no? So, original copy of delinquency verification certificate valid for 6 months from date of issuance. Saan ito manggagaling? Sa collection, no? Collection division or sa accounts receivable management division, ARMD. Okay, so yun po yung mga requirements natin for the claims for VAT refund, no? Pursuant to Section 112. Ito yung close na, cessation of registration, no? So, kung gusto nyo pang maging reference po itong memorandum na to, this is RMO 47-2020, no? Dated November 24, 2020. Okay. Annex A.3, Hari, may question?
Meron po, madam.
O, sige. Bago ko po i-discuss itong Annex A.3, magkaroon muna tayo ng question and answer. Sige po.
Ito po, ma'am, question po galing kay Ma'am Kiara Ferda.
Okay.
Pag ba yung insurance agent sa may real estate person, real estate salesperson, pag mag-register po ba sa BIR, isang COR lang po ba?
Kasi dalawa na siya, no? Isang real estate broker at saka pero pareho lang kasi siya na classification na services eh. At isang insurance agent, no? Pareho lang siya na services pero magkaiba yung kanilang tax type, no? So, para sa akin, pwedeng isa lang pero nandoon yung kanyang activities. Dalawa yung activities niya kasi magkaiba yung code niyan. Yung PSIC, Philippine Standard Industrial Code. Iba pa yung PSOC pala ito kasi services, Philippine Standard Occupational Code, no? So, magkaiba yan ng code, no? Pero kung papayag yung BIR, nandoon lahat sa tax types kasi ang source niyan iisa lang, services lang, no? So i-confirm po ninyo sa BIR at saka ipa-register nyo, no? Kasi halimbawa, insurance agent lang siya, paano yung broker niya? Hindi niya pina-register. So dapat pina-register din. At yung BIR na mismo magsabi sa inyo kung ihiwalay. Pero dapat nandiyan yan sa COR nyo, yung tax activities, no? Kasi lalagyan niya ng code, Philippine Standard Occupational Code. Okay? So ano yung tanong niya? Kung magkahiwalay ba?
Opo, kung isang COR lang daw po ba yun?
Para sa akin, pwede na isang COR pero nakalagay doon yung type of activities. Ang problema nyo lang dyan, kung i-require kayo ng BIR considered as branch kasi ibang code na siya, and then dapat magbayad na kayo again ng registration fee na 500, no? So, paki-confirm po or pakitanong yan sa BIR mismo kasi para sa akin, kung ako nung happy pa ako sa BIR, para sa akin pwede ko na siyang gawin na isa lang, no? And then, kaso lang, ang babayaran mo doon, registration fee, isa lang din. So, dapat talaga dalawa kasi dalawa yung line of activities mo, dalawa dapat yung registration fee mo na babayaran. No? Okay.
So, next po ang question galing kay Ma'am Lilian. Yaw.
Okay.
Ma'am, regarding daw po sa question ni Ma'am Elma de Gracia kanina. Pero 1604C naman po ang tanong ko. Ang problema po, no payment po kami dahil minimum wage ang employee.
Okay.
Wala naman po ako mailagay na EROR. Hindi ko rin po ma-validate. Ayaw pong tanggapin ng system kasi wala akong input sa column ng EROR.
Kasi hindi kayo subject na, hindi kayo dapat na nagbabayad dahil wala kayong remittance, no? So, ano yung ginagawa nyo? Dapat wala kayong withholding tax and compensation. So, blanco nyo lang yan, yung 1604 E. E ba siya o C? No, so, blanco yan. Wala kayong remittance kasi minimum wage kayo. Yun yung sabi ko nga na dapat tinatanggal nyo na yung inyong compensation, no? Yung tax type. Pero since ito 1604, so hindi siya tatanggapin ng ikaw, Hari, hindi mo naranasan, no? Kasi yun pa yung gagawin namin bukas, Hari, yung alpha list na version 7. No? Kasi biro mo kailan lang yung ginawa yung data entry mo na alpha list, ngayon na-revise na, no? So doon sa bago, so ngayon yung sabi mo, hindi tatanggapin kasi wala kang remittance dahil ano ka,
Ayaw ma-validate daw, madam, kasi walang naman yung ano.
Oo, ayaw niya mag-validate.
Kung ano daw, anong lalagay.
Di ba nakalagay dyan, dapat NA or not applicable. No? So, tingnan mo bukas, Hari, dyan sa alpha list na data entry sa bago. No?
Sa EBIR to, madam, inaano eh.
Ha?
Sa EBIR. Sinasubmit yung 1604C.
So, hindi siya mag-validate.
Opo, kasi
wala siyang payment eh. No? So, kung wala,
zero lang.
oo, lagyan mo ng zero. So, kaya nga, tingnan mo bukas kung ilagay mo zero. Kasi hindi niya tatanggapin na walang entry eh. So, lagyan mo na zero. No? So, pero tingnan mo bukas kasi at saka, ang gamitin niyo po yung bagong version na yung version 7. Sa alpha list pala yun. Pero dapat din at the same time may alpha list sila, di ba? Oo. So, gamitin niyo yung version 7 na gagawin namin bukas yung video. Kasi, kailangan na yun, Hari, dahil ngayon nila gagamitin yun itong January. And the deadline is January 31. Oh? So, ngayon lang din, no? Bago lang din nilabas ng BIR yung version 7 na yan. Kaya dapat nakamonitor tayo palagi sa ng BIR ng website. Kasi ang mga bagong requirements, no? Para makapag-comply tayo. Meron pa?
Meron pa po.
Sige.
Galing po kay Ma'am Mary Jane.
Okay, so shout out Ma'am Mary Jane.
Madam, my question is, yung input tax year 2020, pwede po bang carry over ngayong year 2021?
Yes po, pwede. Basta kung ano yung nakalagay doon sa last quarter mo, kasi magkasunod yan eh. Yung ngayon mo for the month, i-carry over mo siya sa next month. Tapos yung next month na yan sa next month. So kung quarter naman yan, i-carry over mo siya sa next month pa rin. No? Kasi monthly naman ang frequency ng filing ng VAT eh. So pwede po siya i-carry over. So hindi ibig sabihin na magka-cut off ka for the year. No? So 2020, kasi for your information, the filing of VAT is quarterly, wala pong annual. No? Kaya hindi niya kinoconsider yung year ending. Quarter ending lang po yung kinoconsider ng VAT. So ano yung quarter ending? Kung quarter ending mo December, then pwede mo siyang carry over for the month of January. No? So pwede po ang carry over. Okay?
Okay na po, ma'am.
Okay. So wala na, let's now go to Annex A.3. No, ito yung checklist of documentary requirements for claims for VAT, credit, or refund pursuant to Section 229 of the Tax Code as amended. Ano naman itong Section 229? Ito yung mga erroneous payment, no? So nag-error ka, na bayaran mo na hindi naman dapat bayaran, so you claim refund based on Section 229 of the National Internal Revenue Code. So, number 1, ano yung requirements? 3 copies of duly accomplished application for tax credit or refund or this BIR Form 1914. Number 2, letter request stating the facts and or legal basis for the justification of the claim. So, ano yung justification mo of the claim? Siyempre, nag-overpayment ka. So, state mo dyan kung anong sources, bakit ka nag-overpayment. Number 3, photocopies of VAT returns for the periods covering the input tax claim as certified by the BIR office where the taxpayer or claimant is registered except for tax returns filed through EFPS. No? So ito yung mga photocopies po ng VAT returns na nagkaroon tayo ng claim. No? Number 4, copy of the proof of payment of the taxes claim for tax credit or refund. No? So, yun yung mga payment ng taxes claim for tax credit or refund. So, kung halimbawa, binayad natin yan sa importation ng goods natin, so ano yun? Yung resibo ng BOC or ng Bureau of Customs. Original copy of delinquency verification certificate valid for 6 months from date of issuance. Saan po yan kukunin? Sa collection, no? Collection division po ng BAR kung saan kayo may sakop, no? Kung yung kayo sa regular na taxpayer, so sa district kung saan kayo registered, doon kayo kumuha sa collection division, sa region, meron yan na nakakasakop ng district, no? Pag kayo naman ay large taxpayers, doon kayo kumuha sa large taxpayers na meron din silang collection division. No? Okay. So, let's now go to Annex B. No? Ito yung delinquency verification certificate. Ito yung kukuhanin natin sa collection. No? For claim, this delinquency verification certificate is used for claim for value-added tax credit or refund pursuant to Section 112. Itong Section 112, no? Ito yung hindi na tuloy yung registration ng or business, yung taxpayer, no? Section 112 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended. So, nakalagay dito yung name of taxpayer, the taxpayer identification number, and then the address, no? So, this is to certify that the above mentioned taxpayer has no delinquent tax liability or has delinquent tax liability or liabilities as follows. So, nakalagay dito yung tax type, assessment number, taxable year, return period, amount, remarks, latest status, no? And then based on available records of the office as of, and then the tax liabilities recorded after the issuance date of or outside the jurisdiction of this office are not covered by this delinquency verification certificate. No? So, yun lang covered. Issue this blank day of blank 2000, ano na ngayon, 2021. So, name of head of office or the chief, and then the BIR seal or DVC number. Note the certificate shall be valid for 6 months from the date of issue. This shall not be used on sales, transfers of real properties. Any erasure made on this certificate shall render it null and void. Kasi, delinquency verification certificate lang to. So, this is valid for 6 months. Bakit? Kasi malay mo, after 6 months, may bago na namang delinquent na due from the taxpayer. So, mag-iiba na ang laman nitong verification or certificate. Okay. Bakit importante yung delinquency verification certificate? Kasi pag may utang ka sa BIR, hindi ka i-refund. Ano yung mangyayari? I-offset yung claim mo against your payable. No? So, gano'n na po kahigpit sa BIR. No? Hindi ka makakapag claim ng refund kung meron ka pang dapat bayaran sa BIR o na-assess ka, hindi mo binayaran. Okay, Annex C.1, verification procedures for sales of goods, no? For claims filed under Section 112A of the Tax Code as amended, no? So, ano nga itong 112? Ito yung nag-cease yung registration, no? Ng taxpayer. No? Cancellation of VAT registration, no? Yung section 229, yun naman ang erroneous payment of taxes, no? So, under this Annex C.1, ano yung verification procedure pagka-sale ng goods and services, no? So, the assigned revenue officer shall, ito yung gagawin niya, no? So, bakit kailangan pa natin itong i-discuss? Kasi, trabaho naman to ng examiner eh. So, bakit kailangan pa natin malaman? Why? Because lahat ng mga findings, ano yung ginawa ng revenue officer dito, halimbawa, may require siya na bagong mga dokumento, as taxpayer, tayo yung magbibigay. So, dapat alam natin para alam din natin kung ano yung hahanapin sa atin ng examiner. No? That is being proactive. Kasi dati ako, pag nakita ko inside to ng BR, inside procedure to ng BR, hindi ko na siya dinidiscuss. No? Which I think sa ngayon, nakailan mo pa rin i-discuss, especially na ang magkukumply dito is the taxpayer. No? Kaya pinagtatyagaan po natin to na explain po sa inyo. No? Before I proceed, mayroon pang question?
Meron po.
Sige. Kasi mahaba ito, hindi ko to puputulin kasi pagka inumpisahan ko tong discussion dito sa verification procedure, no, mahaba-haba yan, 3 pages. So tatapusin ko po talaga siya bago ako mag-ask uli ng question. Actually, dito pa lang sa mga annexes nitong ano na to, hindi nga natin ito maubos kasi ngayon dahil napakahaba. No? Sige, go.
So ma'am, yung question po ni Ma'am Lilian Yao kung pag nakapag-submit na daw ng alpha list yung lumang version, kailangan pa daw ba mag-amend using yung bago?
Wala naman pong sinabi na ganyan na regulation. So, siguro kung halimbawa na kasabit na kayo noon, that is already tantamount to compliance. So, yung mga hindi pa nakasubmit, yun na yung magagamit ng version 7. No? Kasi, magiging disincentive yan doon sa mga maagang nagko-comply. Kaya, since pasok na kayo doon, para sa akin na, hindi na kayo dapat mag-file pa ulit. No? Okay. Kasi pumasok na din naman yun sa system ng BIR eh. Tinanggap na. Okay.
Yun lang ma'am yung tanong. Shoutout lang po ma'am
Sige.
Ma'am Sandra Iborda.
Okay. Si Ma'am Sandra, good evening po and thank you for watching. No? Kasi mga ano na yan natin, dati na, di ba?
Yes,
dati na yan siya na nanonood sa atin. Thank you very much. No, Happy New Year din. Okay. So, wala na.
Wala na po.
Okay, so tuloy po tayo ha. 3 pages itong i-discuss ko sa inyo, kaya hindi natin putulin kahit na maglagpas pa tayo ng 10 o'clock. Anong oras na ba ngayon?
1 hour and 22 minutes.
So, sige. So, verification procedures for sale of goods, no? Ito yung mga claims. Under Section 112A, cancellation of registration, no, sa in ARC natin, National Internal Revenue Code. So, anong gagawin ng examiner? The assigned officer shall compare its category and amount of sales in the quarterly VAT returns, no? Kaya very important yung ating mga pina-file na returns, no? Kasi pagka yan ang file natin, yan yung basis, diyan mag-uumpisa yung audit, diyan mag-uumpisa yung verification. Okay. So, audited financial statement and general ledger with the classification and amount declared in the application for VAT credit or refund. No? So, i-compare mo yung VAT returns mo at saka yung financial statements. No? Identified and reconcile discrepancies noted to determine taxable and exempt transactions, which will be subject to output tax or allocation of input. No? So, kailangan yung category and amount of sales ng quarterly VAT returns. Number 2, determine whether sales declared as zero-rated actually emanate from export sales and other transactions that may qualify as zero-rated or effectively zero-rated sales by verifying sales contracts, marketing agreements, and other sales-related documents. Okay, so yun po yung i-determine natin yung zero-rated sales, no? Emanate from export sales and other transactions na qualify na zero-rated. Ano po itong other transactions? Ito ring effectively zero-rated sales, no? So hindi naman na-export yung goods, pero zero-rated pa rin siya kasi sinupply siya doon sa 70% ng production niya ini-export. No? Number 3, verify from the financial statements the value-added tax returns and the books of accounts as necessary, no? As necessary. If there are local sales and exempt transactions which should not be subject to zero rate, no? So ano yung i-verify mo naman yung financial statements mo and then the VAT returns, no? So kasama pa rin sa verification mo, nandoon yung books of accounts. Kasi pagka halimbawa, may mga interest diyan na hindi ma-explain, no, ng examiner. So ipapa-explain po 'yan sa accountant, no? Number 4, check the correctness of the submitted schedule of zero-rated sales of goods, no? So ano yung correctness ng submitted schedule ng zero-rated sale of goods? Ito yung sa Annex A.1.2, the exempt sales A.1.4 and taxable sales, no, A.1.5, and completeness of the supporting documents through the following procedure. So, pati yung kumpleto ba yung dokumento mo, no? Chine-check din yan. Letter A, examine export sales invoices, airway bills, bills of lading and or other proof of exportation of goods for zero rate, no? So, kailangan niya ipakita yung mga export sales invoices, airway bills, no? So letter B, check the accuracy of the details in the schedule against the sales invoices issued for all types of sale and for zero-rated sales to include proof of inward remittances of foreign currency representing proceeds from zero-rated sales, no? So, yun yung accuracy. O, saan mo yun makikita kung accurate siya o hindi? Okay. Ano yung accuracy na tinatanong dito? The schedule against the sales invoices issued for all type of sales, no? At saka yung zero-rated sales. Okay. Anong kasama? To include proof of inward remittances of foreign currency representing proceeds from zero-rated sales, no? Number or letter C, match the amount of exempt sales and taxable sales per schedule with those reflected in the VAT returns and determine if the amount of output tax reflected has been correctly computed, no? So yun na, magmamatch ka na ngayon ng exempt sales and then taxable sales per schedule, no? And then letter D, we have verified total of zero-rated exempt and taxable sale as a basis. Nasaan na ako? For allocation of input taxes not directly identifiable with its category of sales, no? So mag-allocate ka ngayon ng input tax. Lalo na ang exempt sales, wala ang input yan, no? Hindi mo pwedeng i-claim. Ascertain if the proceeds from zero-rated sales were paid for in acceptable foreign currency and accounted for in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas by verifying the supporting bank credit memo, bank certifications, taxpayers' passbook, or any documents issued by the banks to prove the inward remittance of foreign currency from the zero-rated sales, no? So yun po yung procedure. Okay. In case of constructive remittance, such as offsetting arrangement, schedule and copy of any of the following. So we have board resolution as to the offsetting arrangement. We have intercompany debit or credit memo on the amount of constructive remittance under the offsetting arrangement, and then the loan document or proofs of intercompany advances, no? So yun po yung mga verification, no, na gagawin yung revenue officer. Number 6, if the amount of the inward remittance, whether actual or constructive, is less than the total declared zero-rated sales, the discrepancy shall be construed as unremitted export sales. No? Hence, the input tax pertaining to the discrepancy shall be deducted from the allowable input tax using the following formula. So, ito na yung formula na gagamitin. So, for companies with purely zero-rated sales, ano yung formula natin? Unlimited export sales over total zero-rated sales multiplied by the allowable input tax equals the input tax allocable to unlimited export sales. So, and then we have letter B for companies with zero-rated sales and taxable sales. No? So, ano naman yung formula natin? Unlimited export sales over total sales multiplied by the allowable input tax inclusive of output tax. No? So kasama equals the input tax allocable to unremitted export sales. No? So, computation of allowable input tax, total input tax claim less disallowed input tax per verification equals the allowable input tax. Ito lang yung pwede mong i-claim sa na input mo, i-claim mo against output, no? Okay. So, meron pang illustration under Annex C.3. So, for indirect export sales or zero-rated sales other than those emanating from direct exports, verify from Audit Information Tax Exemption and Incentive Division, meron din pong mga information na nakastore doon ng BIR, no? Or EITED, the endorsement of Investment Promotions Agency or IPA on the exemptions or incentives granted during the period covered by the claim to the registered business enterprise claiming such incentive. No? So in cases where the record of AITED do not show that the respective IPA has endorsed the RBE, no? Verify from the IPA whether such RBE is qualified for certain tax incentives. No? Verify from the IPA whether such RB is qualified for certain tax incentives, particularly VAT zero rating. No? So, yun na yung verification dito. In cases where the authenticity of the document can be verified electronically or online through quick response or QR codes ng BIR din po, attached to the docket a printout of the screenshot of the result of the verification from the facility hosting the electronic or online system with the duly signed notation that the same was verified through the said system. No? So, yun po yung verification na gagawin ng examiner. No? Sa indirect export. Determine compliance with invoicing requirements by verifying the authority to print, no, ATP of the receipts, invoices, or approved permit to use computerized accounting system issued by the office where the taxpayer is registered. And then checking the issuance of sale invoices in accordance with Section 113B of the Tax Code as amended and RMO number 12-2013. No? So yun yung sa mga invoices. And then ascertaining the issuance of sales invoices for vatable sales, zero-rated sales, and exempt sales by taxpayers with mixed transactions in compliance with the invoicing requirements under Section 113 of the Tax Code of 1997 as amended. So yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na pagka ang inyong request is claim for refund, napaka-stricto po talaga ng BAR. No? So ensure that all issued sales invoices are accounted for, no? Including those issued by branches. Ito yung mga kasama na, kasi di ba po ba sa ating VAT, kasama na yan sa head office yung mga sales natin sa branches. No? So, take down any break in the sequence of the serial numbers of issued invoices kasi baka may nawawalang invoices. And ask the taxpayer to account for the missing numbers. In case of cancellation, look for the original copy and note in the working papers the canceled invoices as well as those which are unaccounted. No? And then determine if the unaccounted invoices pertain to local sales which should be subject to output tax. No? And the number 10, certain violations of invoicing requirements that should be imposed the compromise penalty under RMO number 7-2015 and or existing issuances. No? Number 11, determine any deemed sales as defined in section 106B of the tax code as amended and deduct the corresponding output tax from the claim where applicable. So ito na po yung proseso na gagawin ng examiner, no? So yung dim sale, ano itong mga dim sales na to? Ito yung mga withdrawal natin ng inventory, no? So consider din siya dim sales. Check if transactions with statement of account, delivery receipts, collection or acknowledgement receipts and debit note have corresponding issued sales invoices and recorded as sales, no? Kasi pagka halimbawa may delivery receipts yan na na-issue, wala namang corresponding na sale invoices. So, posible na yung sales niya sa delivery receipts is unreported sales, no? Any supplementary documents such as this without sales invoices should be verified if they are sales subject to output tax which has to be deducted from the claim. No? So sabi ko na sa inyo, pagka refund yung ating claim, napakahigpit talaga. So titingnan pa kung may mga supplementary documents tayo na walang sales invoices. No? Kaya nga sabi ko palagi, pag nag-issue kayo ng delivery receipts, mayroon kayo mga collection receipts, acknowledgement receipts, dapat yan, may corresponding sales invoice yan or official receipts. Kasi yun po talaga yung proof of sales. Pag wala, then magkakaroon pa ng adjustment yung examiner. Either na i-add niya yung sales nyo or i-disallow niya. No? Okay. May question? Oh, sige. Before I go to Annex C.2, no? So ito 2 pages lang ito. So tapusin na din natin. Sige.
Mga question ko galing kay Ma'am Sandra Iborda.
Okay po.
Regarding daw po sa form na 1603.
1603, okay.
Ask niya daw po kung para saan daw po yun, tsaka required daw po ba mag-file nun?
Okay. Sige, may kompleto na tayo eh. Ito, mga forms po lahat. Ito, no? 1603. May 1603Q, quarterly remittance return of final income taxes withheld on friends' benefits paid to employees other than rank and file. So, ang tanong mo kung para saan ito at para kanino, itong sinasabi dito na 1603, this is filed quarterly, kaya nga quarterly siya. Ano siya? Remittance return of final income taxes withheld on friends' benefits paid to employees other than rank and file. So, remittance return lang siya. O, tingnan natin. So, 31. Okay. So, quarterly remittance return. So, dito ka magbabayad ng final income taxes withheld mo sa friends benefits, no? Paid to employees other than rank and file. Wala siyang M, no? Yung 1603, wala siyang M, so wala siyang monthly. So, ano lang siya? Q. So, ibig sabihin, ang frequency of filing niya is only quarterly, wala pong monthly, no? Unlike yung unlike yung 1601C, meron siyang monthly, yung 16 ano pa yung ibang monthly? 1600 BT, meron siyang monthly. 1600 BT, meron siyang monthly, no? 0619E, ito yung creditable income tax withheld na expanded, meron din siyang monthly, no? 0619F, ito yung monthly remittance for final income taxes withheld. Okay. So ito yung 0619F, monthly remittance form for final income taxes withheld. Samantalang itong 1603Q, ito naman yung quarterly remittance return of final income taxes withheld on friends' benefits paid to employees other than rank and file. So may sarili talaga siya na form, and quarterly po yung payment ng friends benefits, no? Kasi final tax yun. Okay. So, ang tanong, para saan to? Para po siya sa final income taxes withheld on friends benefits paid to employees other than rank and files. So, ito yung final income tax payable by the employer pagka nagbigay siya ng friends benefits to the supervisory position or managerial position na empleyado niya. No? So, meron na tayong video dyan. So, i-upload natin. Nandyan kung ano yung klase ang mga friends benefits, no? At saka kung paano din kino-compute yung friends benefits tax, no? So, yan po yung 1603Q. So, kung meron kayong final taxes, no, na friends benefits kayo, pero sa nakikita ko ngayon, halos wala na nagbibigay ng friends benefits, no? Kasi ang laki. Halimbawa, yung friends benefits mo is 5,000, pag binayaran mo yun ng final tax na, yung final tax pa lang is 2,600 na, more than 50% of 5,000. So, ibig sabihin, kung may binigay ka na friends benefits, more than 50% of that, kung magbayad ka ng tax. Why? Kasi naka-gross up siya, 35% of the gross up monetary value, no? Kaya malaki. Okay? So, 1603Q, sino yung dapat mag-file, social file? Ito po yung mga every withholding agent, no? Required to deduct and withhold the friends benefits, no? So, kung yung company mo, yung client mo, halimbawa, meron siyang friends benefits, dapat mag-remit siya ng final withholding tax using this 1603Q. Okay. Meron pa?
Meron pa po.
Oh, sige.
Galing ulit kay Ma'am Sandra Eborda.
Okay.
Kung paano daw po mag-apply ng tax clearance?
Tax clearance ngayon, ang alam ko, kung saan ka registered na district, doon ka muna mag-umpisa, no? Sa district na po. No? Doon ka mag-umpisa, at saka may routing, may ikaw, Hari, na kumuha ka na ng tax clearance?
Di ba po?
Okay. Kasi yung ating client na isa, si Ma'am Lilia, magpapakuha yun ng tax clearance. Dapat nga ngayon, kahapon. So, mag-uumpisa yan, may letter of request ka na kukuha ng clearance, and then meron kang a special power of attorney kung single proprietor, o kaya secretary certificate, board resolution for authorized persons na siya ang kukuha. Tapos meron kayong mga pipirmahan or mga application doon, and then magpaparouting po kayo ng open cases. No? So kung makita sila na open case nyo, pababayaran, pero kung wala na, then i-proceed na nila yung tax clearance, no? Ang nagbibigay niyan yung collection ng district, no? Okay. Meron pa?
Wala na po tanong mo. Kaya na po.
Okay, ano oras na?
1:43.
Okay, so kaya pa to. Okay. So tuloy po tayo under Annex C.2 nung ating Revenue Memorandum Order 47/2020. May nanonood pa sa atin?
Meron po madam. May viewers po na 12.
Okay. So let's continue with the verification procedures for sales of goods, no, for claims filed under Section 112B of the Tax Code as amended. So ano itong 112B? Ito yung cancellation of registration kasi mag-stop na yung taxpayer, no? So the assigned revenue officer shall, anong gagawin po ng examiner? Compare its category and amount of sales in the quarterly VAT returns, no? Audited financial statements and general ledger with the classification and amount declared in the application for VAT credit or refund, no? So identify and reconcile discrepancies noted to determine taxable and exempt transactions which will be subject to output tax or allocation of input taxes, no? So halimbawa, meron kayong mga exempt sales, meron din kayong batable sales, i-prorate pa po yung input, no? Hindi niyo pwedeng i-claim lahat yan. Why? Kasi mix yan eh. Meron kayong input tax dyan pertaining to exempt sales, so hindi niyo pwedeng i-claim ng refund yung pertaining to exempt sales. Number 2, check the correctness of the submitted schedules and completeness of the supporting documents through the following procedures. Letter A, check the accuracy of the details in the schedule against the sales invoices issued for all types of sale and for zero-rated sales, to include proofs of inward remittances of foreign currency representing proceeds from zero-rated sales. No? So yun yung sales invoices. No? And then letter B, match the amount of exempt sales and taxable sales per schedule with those reflected in the VAT returns and determine if the amount of output tax reflected has been correctly computed. So ito po yung gagawin natin. Bakit natin to inaalam? As taxpayer, as accountant, itong ginagawa ng examiner, pwede na natin itong gawin in advance. No, nagre-reconcile siya, nagmamats, pwede na natin gawin yun na in advance so that alam natin, pag nandiyan na yung examiner, tali na yung ating ginagawa. No? So, letter C, verify total of zero-rated exempt and taxable sales as a basis for allocation for input taxes not directly identifiable with its category of sales. No? Kasi hindi siya identifiable sa sales natin. No? So, itotal po natin. Zero-rated sales, exempt, taxable. No? Letter D, ascertain if the proceeds from zero-rated sales were paid for in acceptable foreign currency and accounted for in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas by verifying the supporting bank, credit memo, bank certification, taxpayer's passbook, or any document issued by the bank to prove the inward remittance of foreign currency from the zero-rated sales. So, please take note, ano yung zero-rated sales. Considered siya zero-rated sales, very important yun na remitted siya through the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and foreign currency po yung ginamit. Yung dalawa po na requirements na yun. Pag hindi yan, hindi siya considered na zero-rated sales. No? Madi-disallow po yung inyong claim. Okay. Kasi yun yung proof na in-export mo, di ba yung zero-rated sales natin na export sales. So, anong proof mo na na-export yung product na yun? Yung foreign currency denominated sales na ibig sabihin, binayaran ka ng gagaling doon sa ibang bansa kasi nag-export ka. Ikaw wala kang proof, wala kang passbook, walang pumasok sa account mo. So, anong proof mo ngayon na talagang nag-export ka? No? So, yung dalawa na yun, paid for in acceptable foreign currency and accounted for in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So, yun po yung dalawang requirement na hindi pwedeng mawala pagka zero-rated sales. Otherwise, hindi zero-rated sale yun, i-disallow. Determine compliance with invoicing requirements. So, ano yung mga invoicing requirements? By verifying the authority to print receipts, invoices, or approve permit to use computerized accounting system issued by the office where the taxpayer is registered. So, kung nasaan yung head office, doon tayo kukuha ng mga permits natin po ng authority to print. And then letter B, checking the issuance of sales invoices in accordance with section 113B of the tax code as amended and RMO number 12-2013 and or existing issuances, and ascertaining the issuance of sales invoices for vantable sales, zero-rated sales, and exempt sales by the taxpayers with mixed transactions in compliance with the invoicing requirements under Section 113 of the Tax Code of 1997 as amended. No? So ang gagawin ko po dito, may gagawin ako dito para hindi mahirapan yung ating mga VAT taxpayers. No? Gagawan ko po ito ng isang module na dito ko naman ipakita for purposes of filing ng VAT returns, paano mag-reconcile. Kasi itong ginagawa dito ng examiner, reconciliation na to ng mga records. So, pwedeng gawin ito in advance ng internal accountant sa pag-file niya ng VAT returns. Kasi, applicable to sa ordinary sales no paano mag-verify, no? So, take note na ang ating tax training is for you to have a better tax compliance. So, one of the most technical na klase ng taxes is itong value-added tax. Kaya ang gagawin natin dito, technical din yung ating gagawin. So, paano yun? Tuturuan ko na kayo sa mga reconciliation, no? Para hindi tayo mahirapan. Kasi, ang purpose po talaga ng tax training is for you to have a better tax compliance. At napakahirap maghanap ng regulations. No? Kaya yung aming ginagawa ngayon, bago kami mag-record, talagang dinodouble check namin. Kasi minsan, iba yung gumagawa ng PowerPoint, iba yung nagle-lecture, no? So, tinitingnan ko kaagad yung legal basis para hindi po tayo magkamali, no? So, napakahirap ng VAT, lalo na, sabi ko, very technical siya. So, ito yung isang magiging video natin dito sa tax training for better tax compliance, how to reconcile, no? Pag nag-file na kayo ng inyong VAT returns. Para in the end pa lang ng taxpayer, in the end pa lang ng mga internal, gumagawa na sila ng sariling reconciliation so that pagdating na ng examiner, hindi na din hirap yung examiner, no? Okay. Ascertaining the issuance of sales invoice for vatable sales, no? Kasi sales invoice ng vatable sales, saan yun nakalagay? Doon din sa portion na vatable sales. Zero-rated sales, may portion din doon sa resibo na zero-rated sales, no? Exempt sales by taxpayers with mixed transactions in compliance with the invoicing requirements under Section 113 of the Tax Code of 1997 as amended, no? Asan na yung ating sales invoice? Hari, papakita natin sa kanila yung example. Yung sa IMCAN, General Merchandise, meron yata dyan. Dalhin mo dito. Kasi ipakita natin sa kanila kung saang column ba yung sales invoice na vatable sales, sales invoice na zero-rated sales, sales invoice for the exempt sales, no? Wala? Nandun sa mga books. Andun, no? Sa may gilid ng may salamin na yan. May mga books of accounts yan, nandyan. Dito sa table na yan, dyan sa tabi. Papakita natin yung sample. Ano po itong issuance ng sales invoice kasi ang invoicing din po may requirements. So dapat alam natin kung saan natin ilagay kasi sa resibo pa lang, sa issuance pa lang ng resibo, properly classified na po siya kung ano siyang klase, no? So ito, Hari, papakita mo. Okay, sisira na naman 'yan. Ito lang ipakita niyo mo. Ito, vatable sales, VAT exempt sales, zero-rated sales. Pakita mo dyan sa, dyan, makikita. Turo mo. Asan dyan yung vatable sales, no? So, yan. Asan dyan yung zero-rated sales? Nandyan. So, asan dyan yung exempt sales? No? So, nandyan. So, ibig sabihin po, yan yung titingnan ng examiner ngayon kung tama ba yung issuance mo ng resibo. Why? Kasi kung tama yan, pagdating doon sa nakabili, ganun din yung gagawin niya na tama yung classification. So, magre-reconcile po lahat. Yan yung purpose talaga ng audit. Okay? No? So, yan po. Ito po yung resibo ng sales invoice, no? Ng official receipts natin. Okay. Next, ensure that all issued sales invoices are accounted for, no? So, ano yung mga issued sales invoices? Ito yung, nandyan na yung resibo natin sa authority to print receipts and then sequentially numbered siya. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya pa, yung kailangan sequential, no? Sunod-sunod yung pang-issue. Hindi yung patalon-talon, no? So, sales invoices are accounted for, including those issued by branches. O kasi may series din po ang branches at may sarili din siyang authority to print. So, may sarili din po siyang resibo. Take down in a break in the sequence of the serial numbers of issued invoices. Kasi, bakit hinahanap yan? Kasi, mamaya issued yan, pero unaccounted yung mga sales, no? Kaya halimbawa, may mga resibo kayo and may na, hindi kayo na-issue na resibo, dapat naka-attach pa rin yan doon sa sales invoice nyo and then kinancel nyo, no? Yung original na resibo nandun pa rin para hindi isipin ng examiner na ay issued na to, na nakabenta na kayo, hindi nyo lang nire-report, no? So, dapat yung original mismo naka-attach doon sa duplicate. So, in case of cancellation, look for the original copy and note in the working papers the canceled invoices as well as those which are unaccounted. No? So, kung halimbawa mga unaccounted yan, dapat magiging findings na yan ng examiner, yung mga unaccounted na resibo. No? So, yun yung sinasabi ko, kung halimbawa na hindi nyo na-issue, dapat yung original nandun pa rin sa booklet. No? So, number 5, okay. Meron pa pala sa number 4. Determine if unaccounted invoices pertain to local sales which should be subject to output tax. Kasi yung mga unaccounted invoices, kung halimbawa local sales yan, so magiging subject po siya sa output tax or sa 12% na value-added tax. No? So, number 5, a certain violation of invoicing requirements that should be imposed. The compromise penalty under RMO number 7-2015 and or existing issuances. No? So, ano yung 7-2015? Ito yung invoicing requirements natin. No? So, number 6, determine any deemed sales as defined in section 106B. No? Of the tax code as amended and deduct the corresponding output tax from the claim where applicable. No? Ano ito mga deemed sales? Ito yung sa example ko sa inyo, ito yung mga withdrawals ng inventory for personal use. No? So, consider din po siya as sales. Check if transactions with statement of account, delivery receipts, collection or acknowledgement receipt, and debit notes have corresponding issued sales invoices and recorded as sales. Saan po nila kinukuha itong mga acknowledgement receipt at sa collection receipt? Meron po kayong record sa BIR. Why? Kasi kahit na sinasabi natin itong collection, acknowledgement receipt, debit notes are secondary invoices, pero hindi nyo po ito pwedeng gamitin kung walang corresponding authority to print. No? So may record yan doon sa BIR. That's why ang pag-issue dyan is also sequential and every page should be accounted for. No? So, any supplementary documents such as this without sales invoices should be verified if they are sales subject to output tax, which has to be deducted from the claim. No? Kasi payable mo yun, hindi mo binayaran. So, ibig sabihin yung kiniklaim mo na input tax for refund is overclaim. So, ibabawas po doon yung mga findings. No? Okay. So, ano oras na, Hari?
1 hour 57 minutes.
Okay, so 3 minutes na lang. No, meron pa tayong annex C3. Wala nang questions?
Wala pa po.
Okay. So pwede pa to isang annex C.3. No? Ito yung example ng claim for VAT refund for the period. So may pangalan ang corporation. The example is XYZ Corporation, no? So illustrative data. The zero-rated sales, the amount is 500,000. And then the taxable sales subject to regular VAT rate is 300,000. The exempt sales from non-VAT or exempt activity is 200,000. So the total sales of the XYZ Corporation is 1 million. No? Purchases and input tax which cannot be directly attributed to any of the sales activity is 600,000. No? So, purchases ito. So, magkano yung input tax niya? 72,000 doon sa 600,000. Dito naman sa taxable sales, 36,000. Bakit? Ito yung output niya. Yung zero-rated sales, walang output. No? Kaya nga, zero siya. And also, the exempt sales from VAT, wala ring output kasi nga, zero exempt siya. Exempt transactions, 200,000. So, dito sa illustration natin, yung output tax is 36,000 pero yung input tax is 72,000. So, doble. No? Okay. First scenario, no findings for the processing and reviewing offices. Walang findings. No? Bakit? Kasi magtatali lahat. So, gross sales is 500,000, zero rated, battable 300, exempt 200. So, total is 1 million. Adjustment during verification, none. Wala nakita yung examiner, reconcile lahat. So, magaling ang accountant. No? Maganda yung recording. Adjusted sales, same pa rin, no? Ratio, kasi 500,000 yan, ang total sales is 1 million, so 50% siya of the total sales. No? So, ang batable sales naman is 300,000 divided by 1 million, so 30% po yung ratio. Ang exempt sales is 200,000 divided by the 1 million sales equals 20%. So, the 1 million na sales is 100% po yun na ng total sales. So, input tax based on sales ratio. No? So, since yung purchases is not directly attributable to any of the sales activity, ibig sabihin, itong 600,000 na purchases niya, hindi mo ma-identify kung sa exempt ba to, sa taxable o sa zero rated. So, anong dapat gawin? I-prorate siya based on the ratio ng total sales. No? Since yung ating gross sales na zero rated is 50%. So, magkano yung pwede niya i-claim? No? Ito yung 36,000 for the zero rated sales. Bakit 36,000? 50% times 72,000 na input tax. Ito namang batable sales na 30% ng 72,000, 21,600. So, yun yung pwede niya i-claim na input tax. Ang exempt sales naman, which is yung ratio niya is 20%, multiply by the 72,000, so 14,400. So, ang total na input tax niya is 72,000. Out of that 72,000, 50% of that goes to zero-rated sales, na 50% of 72, 36,000. Ang napunta naman sa batable sales, 21,600. Napunta sa exempt sales, 14,400. No? So, walang discrepancy, wala pong nakita. Okay. In the second scenario, with unremitted export sales of 100,000 and disallowed input tax of 12,000. So, dito sa pangalawa, hindi magaling yung nagre-record. Bakit? May nakitang discrepancy. Ibig sabihin, hindi na account lahat. So, nakita po ng examiner. No? Okay. So, magkano? The same. No? 1 million yung total sales. No? Adjustment during the verification or review. Mayroong unremitted na export sales. 100,000. So, adjusted sales niya 400,000. So, binawas na. Kasi hindi niya ni-remit. No? So, binawas. And then, yung batable sales niya, the same. For the exempt sales, also the same. No? Okay. So, available input tax based on sales ratio. Available niya is only 24,000. For batable, 18,000. And then, sa exempt, 12,000. No? Dito sa sales not qualified as zero rated na 100,000. So, 10% siya. 6,000. So, total is 60,000. So, total niya na input tax is only 60,000. Bakit? Kasi meron siyang disallowed na input tax na 12,000. Di ba? Ang kanyang purchases is 72,000 na input, no? Input niya from the purchases 72,000. May nakita doon na 12,000 na disallow. So, 60,000 na lang yung natira. So, yung 60,000 na natira, yun na yung i-prorate naman dito sa sales. Meron siyang not qualified to zero rated kasi hindi niya dineclare na 100,000. So, yung part ng input tax para doon, tinanggal din, no? I-disallow din. Okay. So, available input tax based on sales ratio. No? So, computation of available input tax. Gross input tax, 72,000. Deduct mo yung disallowed na input is 12,000. So, magkano na lang yung input tax mo? 60,000. No? So, computation of input tax allocated to unremitted export sales based on formula provided. No? Unremitted export sales over total sales times the allowable input equals 100,000 over 1 million times 60,000 equals 6,000. Kasi 100,000 over 1 million is 10% yan, no? So, excuse me. 10% of 60,000 is equal to 10% of 60,000 is equal to 6,000, no? To yung note niya, if the allocated input tax is not sufficient to cover the output tax for the period, the deficient amount shall be deducted from the input tax allocated to zero-rated sales, assuming no carryover input tax from prior period can be utilized. Only the input tax allocated to qualified VAT zero-rated sales, net of adjustment if any, is allowed for VAT refund. So, yun na yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo na napakahigpit po ng VAT refund, no? So, ano man yung mga findings, ibabawas doon sa claim mo. Okay. Anong oras na, Hari?
2 hours, 5 minutes.
Okay. So, hindi na natin ma-discuss itong annex, continuation ng annex C3 kasi loaded na rin po tayo, no? Maka 2 hours na tayo. Kung mapapansin nyo ngayon, kahit yung mga CPD, 2 hours na lang. Why? Kasi online nito eh. So, loaded na ang mind natin. So, 2 hours lang. So, kailan natin to i-discuss? Next na naman ulit, no? Sa Thursday, no? Sa Thursday natin to i-discuss. Kasi marami-rami pa to, no? Mga annexes natin. So, with that, I would like to say thank you sa mga nanonood po sa atin. And then, tuloy lang po natin, no? Yung sa ating free bookkeeping, magkakaroon po tayo ng mga additional na inputs doon. So, instead na hindi na sana namin ituloy, magkakaroon pa po tayo ng free bookkeeping seminars kasi may mga i-revise po tayong modules, no? And then siguro isama na rin natin yung mga reminders, especially na filing. But sa mga topics natin, sa mga susunod natin na mga live streaming, hanggang sa April na po, puro income tax na po yung ating tutukan. Bakit? Timely po yun sa deadline ng filing ng income tax return. So ano-ano po yung mga examples na i-discuss natin sa inyo. Kasama na po dito yung how to prepare the financial statements ng iba't ibang klaseng industries, no? So isama na natin yung how to prepare the financial statements of a non-stock non-profit corporations, no, yung mga exempt corporations. Papaano? Kasi iba po 'yun. May yung sa statement of equity nila, statement of funds, no? Para sa cooperatives din. Paano gawa ng financial statement ng cooperatives, no? Paano gumawa ng financial statements ng mga manufacturing companies, ng service companies, ng merchandising companies. So lahat 'yan. And then along the way, i-relate din po natin diyan yung papaano ang inventory na i-reconcile na, no? Kasi diyan nag-uumpisa na maraming findings yung examiner dahil in the end ng gumagawa ng mga financial statements, hindi na reconcile po yung ng tama yung mga dokumento. Pero kung in the end pa lang ng preparer, nare-reconcile na niya yung ginagawa ng examiner, nagawa na niya, hindi na mahirapan yung examiner during the audit, no? At ma-minimize po natin yung mga findings. Kaya i-discuss din po natin sa inyo yan. So remember that the purpose of tax training is for you to have a better tax compliance. With that, I would like to say thank you and good evening po sa lahat.